Okay, last we left off a while ago now, I think. You awoke. Wrong one. He's not awake. Oh, I was looking at the wrong notes. Wait a minute. Okay, you had just given the guns to the Bronze Legion, Gimmet Courtry, and having handled that situation, potentially shifting the power balance in one favor or another, to your benefit, possibly to future consequences later. For the moment, maybe they needed more. But your attention turned to a certain peasant fishwife that you found in a pirate cove not too long ago, who still needs to be returned home to Fairhaven. Before that, you went to Abethus, to a toy store, I believe. And to generally handle other business there, if I recall. Zero, you went to the toy store and perused around, found some interesting items. Notably, you found a silver orb, that apparently just showed up in the toy store one day, according to the purveyor. And it seems to be semi-sentient, and to test its limits, you decide to, you flick a bean, you flick a coin at a kid or something. You threw something at a kid and failed the wisdom saving throw, and immediately had your soul sucked into the orb, pulled out of your body, wrenched unwillingly. Inside, you confronted maybe the orb itself, maybe something living in the orb. A gargantuan, silver, muscular man, 2 heads, 6 arms, just kind of presiding over the silver throne with a bunch of moaning and screaming people below you, and this almost network of cage, spherical dome of cage around you. Asked you some questions, pulled the memories out of your brain, and basically just read your mind in a way, interpret it as you will. You managed to convince it to not kill you in that instance. It shunted your body back in, having been satisfied with its reading of your personage. And you managed to buy the orb from the owner for a hefty sum. Yeah, and I believe everyone... I forgot what Chris was doing at that time. You went to a potion shop, bought some stuff, general alchemy stuff for kids. This is gift giving. The gift giving episode, the Christmas episode.
That was in Obethus, right? When we went
This was in Obethus, yeah. But then managed to fly to Fairhaven in that time. Just do some, make some snowmen in the time while Riley was watching over the dragon. You noticed that Nyx wasn't really around for a little bit, and when you went to go and find her, you discovered her in Zero's room. Having managed to successfully sneak out, you caught her red-handed just leaving the room, and she claims to have been searching for a lost journal that she just kind of kept around and thought it might have been in Zero's room. Tried to insight check, if I recall. Hard to read.
Mm-hmm.
When you did get to Fairhaven, though, you managed to reconvene with Lydia with her grandfather, William, and they had a tearful reunion. They're both old fucks now, But while they were busy catching up, Chris, you did the ultimate gift giving act of manifesting from the ether through pure magic a mansion, decked out head to toe, perfectly sculpted in the style of your hometown in a way, with a lot of like wood accents and everything. Beautiful manner, like rivaling those of the biggest and most expensive houses here, and probably beating them too. Complete with one spectral merrick that will forever be bound to this house to serve at the whims of Lydia. In the meantime, Zero, you went to go retrieve the children. And having collected them, discovering that Ol is now like part druid, seemingly, brought Lydia and the kids to the house where you all had a dinner, a nice family dinner around the table. A merry day, and even brought Nancy along too. Wait,
Rebecca,
that's the one. Rebecca, the orb, now kind of watching over these children, and pretty certain they'll be safe up until they're hit 15, at which point they're on their own. But as you leave the mansion, it's late evening at this point, early night. Sun's already fully set, and as you look up, bellies full of joy, a happy household, and you look up at the moon, and a small chill goes down the spine, as well, you can all independently wonder, or not at all, that despite all the happiness that you have created in a few short weeks, 1 month or so, maybe a little less, that it could all be erased. Are you not successful? But that is where we pick up. Outside the house, the manor in Fairhaven. The property tax on the bitch is going to be insane.
they can figure that out later.
They figured it out.
What's the first move? Going to the forest or going to intercept?
Oh, maybe the forest?
Because like, how long did it say we had until the ships got to Thane?
Oh boy.
And how long has it been since?
Let me try to find. You have, it says the, well, if I recall, the discussion you had with Jarnhat, he's going to call off the air fleet specifically, but the sea fleet's still going to be going there because that's actually what's going to take
their train back.
Yeah, like that's the bulk of it. Had you not called off the air fleet, they would have arrived tomorrow.
Okay.
But they're gone, well, allegedly. The sea fleet they're going to be arriving there probably around a week or so.
Okay, we got time to fuck around and try and find Forest. All right. So it's just a matter of what do we want to do.
I think the forest.
Yeah.
Well, I've not been up there yet, so I guess we're all going on an adventure today.
Where are the horses at right now? Are they back at the fort?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Bruce is with them.
Right, okay.
So none of us have been there. Aluenia Kemfe?
Eluania
Yeah.
Kemfele.
Kemfiade. Yeah. None of us have been there, but Riley could probably get us to Illy Reed somehow.
Do we want to
Um,
horses?
No, we got
What?
the dragon. We can just fly over there.
Do you have
Hmm.
some from Illyrood?
Do I have anything from Illy Reed? I don't think I would, right? Because I haven't been there in like a year.
Like when you left, that's true. You spent most of your time in Gulmid.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So even if you did, I don't think it would really be applicable anymore.
In that case, I'll just turn to the teleporters and say, all right, I need you to envision a small little hamlet in the middle of forests. Babbling brooks, lots of bugs, and a decent view of the mountains.
I have a rough idea. How much damage do I take for teleport? Like for a level 7 spell?
Oh yeah, because when you cast a wish, you are you're fucked up. There- you're you're like this for like 6 days. That's fucked. You take, I believe, I'll have to look up this actually. One d10 per spell level. So teleport is 7, so that'd be 7d10.
Okay.
I can get us there with. Well, hold on, pause. Let me see how much teleportation I have. Sorry, my browser is really slow.
Damn, I thought we got that out of the way.
There's nothing you can do to fix my garbage ass computer.
Take damage from wait until long rest. Okay, so it's only until you take a
sorry.
long rest. Sorry. So when you take a long rest, you won't take damage from spells anymore, but you're still weakened. Your strength is still 3.
I have one use of teleportation left, then I'll be done for.
And if you want to try it out, I've given you the description. You know roughly where it is on a map. All that's left is the imagination, I imagine. It's like Dimension Door, but way more.
Have we discussed already how long it would take if we just try to get there by dragon?
To the
I would imagine
forest.
at least a
okay.
week, right?
We could go from Bratchell's place because I know the
That's true. You have like a
teleportation
circle for that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's no harm in trying to get there, right?
I think we should have a backup plan in case, the teleportation doesn't work. Simon, have we been to Pratchell's place in the last year?
Doesn't matter. It's a teleportation circle, right?
Yeah, I just
Yeah, but I don't think.
that
I don't
fit the
think.
dragon, though.
Oh, that's true. But I don't know if the dragon could just show up on the circle. I mean, I was gonna teleport us to at least Nellid for Chris because I didn't know what Chris's situation was with, using spell slots and stuff. But I can't use a teleportation circle anyway. I think if I use teleport, I have to do it just the standard, like a place I have been or an item if I have it or whatever. I don't think I can cast it with the circle like he can, right, Simon?
You can cast teleportation circle, but I think if you know the ruins and like essentially like the password of the a teleportation circle, you can still use teleport to teleport to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you've seen it and you're able to copy down the ruins and such, you could use the circle like indefinitely.
However you'd like to do it, Chris, because I think I may be able to get us. I don't know. Then again, yeah. Where is the teleportation circle located? Because even if you gave me the runes to get us there to the circle, and I could just do it through my hat, so you don't have to use a spell slot, we'd be teleporting. It seems like the whole dragon.
Be like somewhere like over here, right?
Give or take. Probably a little closer to Nelly, but yeah, about there.
But is it like inside of a house?
It's inside of a cave, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Will that cave fit our dragon?
The dragon, it wouldn't be comfortable. With the house, probably not. It's not a big cave.
I say I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but we should just try for Illyreed.
One more time. What are the? I mean, I guess it's not up to me whether we can do it or not. But more so, I just want to know if there are any risks in Chris using his spells after the whole wish thing. What was the details of that?
He's just very scrawny for like 6 days, but until he takes a long rest, he's going to be taking damage every time he casts a spell. And the higher level the spell, the more damage he'll take.
Right. That's my only concern then, is that I only have one use of teleportation right now, and wherever we end up after I do it is where we end up.
And here's a proposition. Let's try for Illyreed with you. And then if that fails, we'll just get Chris to teleport us back to Thane.
Or I don't know. When's the last time we were in Nelid? Is my question, Simon.
Not since you've been there, I don't think.
No.
Was Nelid where the fight with the Hydra was?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Like the woods of Nelid?
Yeah.
Okay, if I've been there before, how about I try to teleport us and the dragon to the outskirts of Nelid where the woods were, and that way at least we have a higher chance of successfully getting there. And how long would the ride be, Simon, from... Actually, I don't know if I'm thinking of the right place. Yeah, Illyreed, yeah, okay, I'm Outer, yeah. How long would that be by dragon?
From dragon, that probably be like 3 to 4 days.
Okay. I don't want to risk wasting my one teleportation on trying to get us there, and either, I don't know, I guess nobody in our group currently would be downed if they got smashed up by the teleportation spell, right? Like it's just the fighters, all of us, and
yeah.
Everyone's
and I have
chasing
maximum spell slots right now, so I can heal us anyway.
How much damage does Chris take if he tries to teleport us and or just I guess if he uses the teleportation spell?
7d10. 1d10 per spell level.
Maximum 70, he lives that. And then on top of the damage that we could take from like fumbling into a mountain or something, he probably lives that too, honestly.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, and it downs him, I'll just heal him.
Yep,
Try?
I should note that the chances for teleporting to a description of a place and teleporting to a place you've seen once is the same.
Okay, so it's the same risk if I try to get us to Nelid.
Yeah, whether you go to Nelid or you go to Illyreed, it's basically the same dice roll.
Okay. That's fair.
What about a place you know well?
Then it would increase, yeah.
Okay. So I could do Nelid.
Yeah. So that would be, if you're very familiar with Nelid, I would say. So you would have a pretty good chance to get on target.
Shall I do it?
That gets us closer. Why not?
Let me use my use of it first, so you don't have
Okay.
to just yet. If it's the same percentage chance, anyways.
No, it
Okay.
wouldn't be because he'd be going to the city, not the
Oh,
teleportation
right,
circle.
right, to get
so
it.
he has a
Okay,
better
so-
chance.
Yeah, unless you want to go try to do straight to Billy Reed.
I mean, no, if yours is a higher guarantee that will be closer to Illy Reed, then and you're okay with using it, yeah. Mine's kind of just a shot in the dark if I get us even close enough.
Okay, I guess we'll try to go to Nelid then.
Okay. Whereabouts in Nelid? Like like pretty much Nelid and the surrounding area you're pretty well familiar with.
Yeah, probably like the front gates.
Okay. Sure. Roll D100. You're good. You're fine. You're fine. Also roll 7d10 for me. That's how much necrotic damage
Exactly
you
average.
take. That is precisely exactly average, actually, yeah. 35.5 is the average roll for this, and yeah. Perfectly average, Chris.
Pretty much all the temp hit points are down.
Yeah. At least not your actual hit points.
I'll throw a level 1 healing word on that. Why not?
Okay. You heal 8. So that's 28 total you'd be taking.
And back to full health.
Wait, where did you get all that temp HP from? What the fuck?
The inspiration, I believe, if I gave
Oh yeah,
him.
because I already had a inspiration, and then so the other inspiration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't get a second inspiration, but I just gave him temp HP that just lasted until he lost it. Which he just did, so there's that. Okay. As from the dragon, belly's full, your space folds into itself into a tiny little pinprick of a spot before emerging and unfolding outside a crisp, cool, snow-covered wooden palisade gate. The gate is closed at this current time of night, but you still see the torches ablaze to light up what can be seen. Right outside the front gates, you see chopped stumps, long dead and decayed, probably decades ago. They were cut down. Yeah, just like foot traffic of like merchants that have been here, like passed through and either left or gone. Also, 2 very scared guards that just watched a white dragon with a house on it emerge feet from them.
Raleigh's gonna pop out his head through the door real quick and say, "No need to be alarmed. It's docile."
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Oh, wow. I rolled real shit.
Oh god, the dice rolls in a different spot now. It's weird. Okay. You're pretty light on your feet, so you get out there pretty quick. You see, after like a weird, awkward 3 seconds that you're already moving, they were about to ring like a large like bell that was like attached to the gate, and the moment you start speaking, they stop, just in time to avoid alerting everyone in the vicinity, and also in the city, and also along the walls, and possibly anyone outside. But you see just two guards in like very like mishmashed kind of like salvaged gear, just stood there, eyes wide from what you can see in the dark, as Polaris just kind of sits as best he can without shaking the house too much.
Yep, we're just gonna take off to the Howden skies. We wanted to get a little bit closer, and this was our best shot. Good day to you!
You see one of them kind of like, the one that was going to ring the bell kind of like stands up straight, kind of like brushes himself off and kind of grits through his teeth in fear as he stands up. Yeah, alright, be off with you now. Yeah.
Riley will get his head back in the door and say, alright, let's take off.
Understood. And with one wing flap, Claire ejects himself up 30 feet, just coating the entire front gate and the two guards in a layer of powder snow. And after a couple feet, he disappears into the gray, overcast night. And you're heading... I gotta move your tokens. Heading west towards specifically Illyried, or he's gonna go straight to...
It's on the way. May as well hit it up.
Okay, so that would be, give or take, 3 or 4 years.
Yep, all good.
Okay.
I wonder how much time we could shave off if we grievously misuse teleport and just teleport to the end of the horizon.
I was gonna try to get us to Ellie Reed anyways. Like once, I just wanted us to get out here. Like I wanted us to have a better chance of getting to Ellie Reed if we like got here normally, and in quotations normally, and have the option of just flying there, but also trying to spam teleportation till it took. But I don't want to kill Chris. I can use my...
Oh, he'll be fine in like 4 hours.
Yeah. I'll use my last teleportation I have, and I'll try to get us to Ellie Reed.
Okay. So you have a brief description of a kind of wooded hamlet with a bunch of bugs.
Some
mountains.
brooks, some rivers, some view of the mountains.
But before we go anywhere, can we take like a stone or somewhere so Chris can get us exactly back here again or something?
Sure. Riley will grab one retroactively from the ground as he pokes his head out the door.
Yeah. Even if you're like 120 feet in the air, just mysteriously a rock gets kicked up perfectly in the window. I was like, huh. Deus Ex Machina. Okay. Zero, roll a D100 for me. You have a description of Illyried. Okay. That's not bad. I need to roll 1d10 followed by 1d10. Okay. How do I math this? Oh, that's 30%. Roll a d8. Just keep pressing the wrong fucking button. Okay. Alright. Here. That's about here-ish. Okay. So you get teleported. Not too far off from the sky, you begin to channel that description of Illyried, this small hamlet, like couple houses, if that, population of like 50 max, and just surrounded by woods and bugs. It's winter, not sure how it looks. I've never really been to Howard, honestly. But you channel that description anyway, and as you kind of close your eyes, you feel the entire house and yourself be enveloped in shadows, darkness for a brief bit, and then reappearing In the sky elsewhere. Not in a hamlet. But not where you were.
Can Riley look outside and see if he recognizes anything?
You look down. You're not too far off from the sky. About the same height you were before. A couple 100 feet off the ground or so. Trees. But not just normal trees. Jungle trees. They are mostly... The snow cover on them is sparse. But you can recognize the thick trunks. An ancient and mostly untouched woodland. It looks like Howrah.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly where we are, but I'm pretty much confident that we hit the continent at the very least. I'm pretty sure this is Howrah.
If we look outside, do we see any signs or signals that maybe the Archon might provide?
Make a perception check. Looking outside, you can see pretty well. And with your sniper rifle scope, you can see even better. Looking outside, it's pretty dark. You're fairly confident that if there's signage here, you'd be able to see it. And you don't see anything other than jungles, trees, and what wayward animals are currently in the midst of fleeing from the giant shadow that's being cast over them right now.
So Riley would absolutely know what the percentage of hostile bugs are in this forest compared to the stinging weald is, right?
Give or take. Stinging weald is like the worst it'll be.
Right.
But the rest of the continent isn't exactly safe.
Okay, so we can land and he could get an idea that we're not in the stinging weald.
Probably.
Would he be able to see the mist peaks from here?
Yeah, actually, from up here, you'd be able to see the mist peaks.
Okay. Oh, there's a context clue. There's the mist peaks. Looks like them anyway.
Which direction is that?
It's south from us.
Well, if the Mystic Peaks are south, Illy reads to the east, right?
It would be, yes. Which means we're probably exactly where we want to be, actually. Let's land and find out.
Okay, landing where you are.
May as well.
Okay. As you begin to descend down. Strangely, I need Polaris to make a wisdom saving throw.
No.
He's decent at those, because he stole them from Vertave. 15. Okay. As he descends downward, per your instructions, he follows your instructions to the T. As he's descending downwards, he begins to slow a little bit, and then, like, slow more. He's still flapping, he's still going at a normal pace, but it's like... There's this weird resistance that's happening as he's approaching. And you're not entirely sure why.
Everything good there, Polaris?
Yes, I believe so. There is a presence difficult to describe.
Is it a good presence or a bad presence?
It senses me.
Just you? Anyone else getting the sensation?
No, not just Polaris.
Maybe it's something to do with the undead?
I am unsure. I do not know the nature of this presence, or this attention, or this land, or much of what I am, or how it interacts with the rest of this world. I believe you would know better than I would, Master.
Unfortunately, that's not really the case right now. Do you sense that it is hostile?
I sense it is more of a warning. Not unlike a rattlesnake hissing and unfolding its neck frills. Posturing.
What does Riley know about this forest?
You live relatively close by, but haven't been into it much, but you know a little bit more than probably the rest of the party. Make a, I would say, you're not proficient in nature, are you?
I am.
Oh, either way. Make a nature or history check, either way, with advantage.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay. You've been into that section of the forest somewhat, not a whole lot, or very deep into it. You would know that from general folklore and word of mouth that's been passed down via, like, you know, child to child, elf to elf, or just stories people picked up. There is a thought that that forest has been relatively untamed as long as it has, because it's mildly sentient. At least that's the theory. There is something either in it or is it that is either in the forest or is the forest, and it's protecting itself and everything in it. Like, even when it's fickle, you've seen accounts of this, like yourself firsthand or secondhand, of people from your village going into the forest and either not coming back or coming back weirdly unscathed. It has simultaneously killed people and has simultaneously saved them, and people aren't still sure why, but that forest doesn't operate normally.
I think I remember something about this, actually. This forest, has some sort of sentience to it. I think it wants to keep you out.
Well, it's kind of like the Silverwood
A little bit like the Silverwood.
trying to keep me out.
Well, we'll see if it adopts the same attitude this time around. How many people are here?
Like on the dragon?
Yeah, Riley, Chris, Zero, Claudine, Zia, Nyx. Fuck, I don't think that's enough. Does Featherfall cover more people at higher levels?
I believe so, but let me double check. Feather.
It doesn't say.
Nope. Does not. If it doesn't say, it doesn't do anything at fire levels. So it's 5 max.
Alright, fair enough.
I
I'm
have
gonna
a
turn to...
Pokeball.
You have what?
The
Oh, you have a-
Pokeball.
Right, okay. Well, that's significantly less romantic than what Riley was about to do, but it is very
What
good.
are you about to do?
You just to jump out.
Riley was just gonna be like, alright, Zia, hop on.
That's cutesy.
Yeah, oh well. The Pokeball is better. Thanks for ruining my RP.
Oh, I just. Damn.
Yeah, okay. That works. Pokeball it is.
You also got a flying carpet too, so that's our
Oh,
most
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is Nyx and Claudine with us too?
Yeah. Alright, Riley will say, alright, it's probably better if the 6 of us just jump then. We have methods of negating fall damage, yes? I need somebody to, he'll look at Zero. It's probably better if you use the carpet, yes?
Can someone negate?
How high are we again?
About 200 feet from the air right now. Or as players descending, probably like 100-ish. They
From the
started
ground?
slowing. From the ground, 100 feet off the ground.
That's not too bad.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn to Claudine and ask if she'd like to carpet up with me.
Make a perception. Not perception. Persuasion check. Oh, carpet up, not Pokeball. Never mind. She's on board.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's 2 less that he has to use it for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be fine. I'll just turn to Nyx and say, don't worry about the fall, I got us. Let's go.
Yeah. She kind of looks at you with like really piercing pink eyes that like subtly glow in the dark. Okay. Well, my life is in your hands.
And
Okay.
so I will say, all right, Polaris, you can head back up. Let's not have this forest interact with you.
Understood. As one by one you all drop out of the dragon, except Zero and Claudine. Claudine sort of looks at the four of them plummeting off, like out of the dragon. That just kind of like slyly whispers to you. What are the chances he forgets to cast his spell? They all just hit the ground and splat.
At least one of us would survive that.
I'm gonna pull back to look at her a little bit and be like, I don't know. Why?
Well, the forest is acting weird. I don't know.
Riley will
What?
attempt to not forget to cast the spell.
Sure.
He casts the spell.
Cool. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Ah, good. Wisdom saving throw. Okay.
Okay. As you cast the spell, you're hitting, you're not hitting trees, but you are passing through them. You really, Polaris was like at the treetops when you all jumped. So you're zipping through some of the trees. As you cast the spell, it goes. Just make a perception check for me to see how much information you glean. I mean, you're good at these.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at those.
You cast the spell, and it immediately feels wrong. Not the spell itself. There's something attached to it as you cast it. You're summoning the magic as you always do. You've cast this dozens of times. The words are right, the chants are right, the motions are right, and there's something that's latched on to something in between. To your magic specifically. And you feel this tug, this pull, like it's trying to wrench the spell out of your hand, but you manage to keep a hold on the spell and the spell goes off. That feeling subsides the moment the spell is no longer in existence, as you all begin to float somewhat and then begin to steadily fall. Just descending down the branches as thorny and uncomfortable as they can be, kind of bristling up against your faces and any exposed skin that you still have. There is a warmth as you get further down. You begin to maybe feel the reason why there's not much snow on these trees. At the top, it was sparse. The further you go down, the snow begins to subside until eventually you just begin to feel this warmth. A somewhat tropical-ish warmth, despite it being the dead of winter right now. There's no snow here whatsoever. You immediately begin sweating. The humidity is already at an all-time high since the entire season changed. And it comes in waves. As you all hit the ground, it's moist, it's muddy. It's a swamp, more or less. A tropical forest. You can hear insects buzzing, still active during the winter. They immediately begin swarming you, all of you that are in the forest right now. But the humidity comes in waves. It gets warmer in some moments, then it slowly fades until it's slightly cooler. And then the moisture begins to turn into droplets on your face as it cools down. Then it gets moist again, and it immediately evaporates. It's this weird, almost breath-like motion. Like you're inside of a mouth, and you just feel the inhalation, exhalation as you're standing on this forest floor. The trees themselves, thorny, thick, huge. Some of these are building-sized houses. Some are younger, some are bigger, but the biggest trees in the Silverwood are probably the smallest trees here, and those trees are probably like 20 feet, 30 feet wide, in diameter. This is a absolutely primordial forest, and Riley, something actively tried to wrench the spell out of your hands.
Does Riley recognize this sensation, or has he not been this far deep?
With your nature check, it's hard to tell because you haven't heard mention of this. Because most people don't venture this far into this forest. Even your village went to like the borderlands of this forest specifically, and that was enough for them to really kind of keep a careful gauge on it. You are much deeper into this forest than you normally would be, but it seems, like the tales say, it doesn't seem to function the same as any other forest. Maybe there's some truth to this forest being quite literally alive.
Yeah, this is a very unique sensation. I don't recall it being like this last I was here. Riley will just speak out into the nebulous abyss and say, we mean no harm. There is no need to stifle our magic.
Okay, make a persuasion check. Okay. You say it, and the moment you begin to talk, you hear the fluttering of bird wings flying away in alarm. The forest echoes, almost like the sound goes out, then it bounces off something, it comes back, and it's this weird like echo chamber effect as almost your voice is being mimicked back at you for 20 seconds straight. Varying volumes, but over time, dissipating. You don't feel any notable change. But you're
Right,
also not
with
being
that
eaten,
out of the
so
way. What? Sorry, what?
that was basically it.
Okay, with that out of the way, I suppose let's venture in a direction and hope we start finding some white lilies.
Okay. Sure. Who would like to attempt to navigate the forest?
I think Riley's probably the best shot we have.
Could I also attempt?
Sure. You can either attempt separately, or you can grant. Actually, Riley would probably have advantage anyway because he's lived here. Yeah, you can both attempt it.
What check would that be? Survival?
Yeah, it'd be survival.
Yeah.
When was the last time we made a survival check? Holy shit.
Oh, ages ago.
That's since Janna, I don't think.
I miss having a ranger.
I miss you guys walking with your feet. Okay. Riley, you're barely able to keep moving. There is this weird sensation as you're all kind of... Zero, are you still on the carpet, or do you not want to trudge in the mud, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I think I would stay up. I don't know if Claudine would also like to stay up, but I'm staying up.
Okay. Just roll d20 from 0.
Why? Hold on.
Okay.
I hate playing D&D.
About an hour in to this walk, Riley, you're barely able to keep trudging forward. Nothing seems to jump out at you. You still hear the buzzing of insects, but weirdly, the insects are ignoring you. You, specifically. The mud is not pleasant. It's fetid. It's stinking. It is sticky. It is natural. It's mud. And at the deepest part, you're wading like thigh to hip deep. But for the most part, it's ankle. And it's getting into your clothing and pants. You're dressed for the winter. You're in a tropical forest right now. Well, I say tropical. It's definitely a rainforest. You see like birds of paradise. Like little toucans just sitting on the fucking branches watching you. Leaves you've never really seen before. All mostly verdant green, but occasionally one just kind of sprouts up in a small clearing that has no trees around it for 30, 40, 60 feet. And it's just a perfect singular, almost shrine-like tree. Gray bark, light blue colorations in its leaves, and glowing ephemerally in the moonlight. A perfect view to the sky from this clearing. But nothing really happens where you pass it either, but it's just there. You just see strange phenomena like this as you're going. And you swear you see the exact tree again as you're passing like 30 minutes into the tree, or into the trek. And it's almost this weird looping sensation you're getting. You're not sure if it's the same tree, it's a different tree. You're barely able to keep hanging on to this trail. Chris, you get lost, but Riley's there to, guide you there. You can still see him, but every so often, every 30 seconds, you kind of lose sight of your companions. And you do 360, they're not there. You do another 360 and they're there again. You're somehow getting lost despite being directly next to your companions. But with Riley's good enough survival, you don't get separated. 0. About an hour into this trek, just in a random direction, you feel the carpet slowly descending as you're going, like slowly, like inch by inch, every minute or so. You try to pull up and it's just not really doing anything. It gets to the point where you're kind of like skimming across the mud, like almost ground level, and you're actually like basically sitting on the floor just gliding across it as opposed to flying.
I guess after seeing that's happening, before I let the carpet touch the ground, I'll roll it back up, and I'll gently hop off.
Okay.
And then I'd like to, if we make contact on the ground, then I'll roll it up and put it away.
Okay. Yeah, as you get up, make contact with the ground, roll it up. Make a perception check for me. Okay. You hit the ground. Like literally the carpet skims across the ground and you're like, okay, time to just, it's not working for some reason, time to just get up and hoof it. The moment your foot touches the mud, you, especially with your connection to several beings in different places, you feel something. It's less severing the connection and more like there's a new connection there that is so big that it's smothering the rest of them. There is, the moment you touch contact with the ground, something just shunted itself into your network of connections. You feel your connection to the hells, to this contract Cerberus, to Alina, slowly being smothered, and in its place a seed is just sitting there. A giant, gargantuan seed. There is something that has connected you to this place. Maybe it's connected to everyone else too, but you're the first to notice this.
I'd like to cast message to Riley and then see what that does, because I want to communicate to him what I just felt.
Okay. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Okay. What do you say to Riley?
I say, whatever this is, I feel it, and it feels us. It's numbing the other connections.
Do I receive this?
You do. You all... 0. Well, Riley, you get the message. 0. You send a message once to Riley. The message got sent twice. You feel this.
Does Riley feel this?
Nope. You're one of the recipients.
Oh, shit. Riley will respond. Now that you mention it, does he notice that his connection to Gwina has been lessened?
Make a religion check or a perception check. Your choice.
Yeah, I like perception. I like to perceive.
You try to envision a place where you connect with Gwina, the sea, the water, just any place of just large body of ocean. The sky, the clouds. All you see is verdant green. Trees, wooden trees, just gargantuan and towering, ever growing, the branches piercing the landscape like spears, the brambles growing up like gates. You envision an ocean and you see a forest.
Now that you mention it, my mind does seem to be a little bit clouded by this place. I'm curious what happens if I take out my Tempest Retort.
Sure.
Does it take a new form? Does it not activate at all?
You take up Tempest Retort, and it's there. It looks about the same.
Do I feel a connection to the chaos within the world?
Make a perception or religion check, your choice. You feel a different type of chaos. You're used to just the almost mathematical randomness of everything. The almost like kind of like instinctual, fuck it, see what happens, kind of chaos. This is an orderly chaos. This is a chaos with a mission. First mission, survive. Second mission, spread. Much like any other life form and organism on the planet.
I go up to a tree and I hug it, and I say, "You're much better than the Silverwood."
Make a persuasion check. Okay. You don't feel anything different. But you do hug a tree.
And none of us have seen white lilies up to this point, huh?
Not to this point, no.
Well, from what I understand, this place is so interested in self-preservation that it seems to have blotted out the outside world. Very interesting. I'm going to ask the forest this directly. How have you dealt with the invasion?
I'll make a persuasion check.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that.
Okay. You say that unto the forest. You don't get a response or anything. A couple of animals chitter through the trees and jump across the branches. Something swings just out of view, but otherwise uneventful.
Continue trekking, though. Actually, what time is it? Should we be thinking about setting up a tiny hut?
Do you want to check your clock?
Yeah.
Okay, you check the watch. It is spinning wildly. The compass pointer is also like the actual like compass itself, just randomly going every direction. The clocks of the hands of the watch are just spinning in random directions.
Okay, so it's not just magic. Anything from the outside is subject to the whims of this place, then.
It is still dark, so you know it's still nighttime. But yeah, going for about you've been trekking for about an hour, hour and a half or so, roughly. What time it's specifically? Hard to know, especially not being able to see the sky and also not being able to tell via like mechanics.
Is there anywhere around that isn't completely like lambasted in mud?
With your spell check, you can eventually find one. Yeah, there's been a couple clearings that were like grassy, like those couple of trees, but eventually you do see some portions where the mud begins to kind of subside into more of like a soil type, or like soil and like dead wood kind of feel. Some of these huge trees have like giant knot holes at the bottom, and they're just big enough to fit a house that you can possibly take shelter in if you'd like to.
Yeah, let's do that. Unless everyone wants to not do that and keep going for some reason. I'm not hearing a no. Let's do it.
Sorry, I have no objections.
Okay. Start camping out for the night.
He'll attempt to cast Tiny Hut, knowing full well that it might not work.
Okay. Make a wisdom saving throw. Okay. You cast Tiny Hut. Again, you feel that weird pull, this weird parasitic latching onto your magic as you're casting it, and then trying to wrench it free from your grasp, like the control of the spell itself, but you manage to cast the spell mostly unimpeded.
I would like to try to invite it in.
Okay. Specifically inviting it in, not... Okay. Sure, make another persuasion check. Okay. As the spell casts, knowing, kind of keeping in your mind that whatever this pull is, you're not going to fight it, but you're not going to let it have it either. This weird in-between space, as you're saying that, almost like magically inviting it in. When the spell casts, you don't feel this force be shunted off anymore, but it doesn't leave either. By the tiny hut's there.
I would like to attempt to converse with it.
Okay, inside tiny hut.
Yeah.
Who else is going in tiny hut? Everyone?
I'm personally just wary of everything with what's going on. I want to watch what happens before I go in.
Okay.
I'll go in and relax, recover.
Yeah, you're fucked up. I think... Yeah, Nyx will go in. Claudia will stay outside with you because she has decent perception. The two rogues keeping an eye out. Okay. I'll need Claudine and Zero to make perception checks for me. Jesus Christ.
Another one.
This is where it all comes, like, barreling in. It's going to be natural 20s on perceptions for the rest of the campaign.
Yay!
After, 6 years of absolute shitty perception rolls,
Yay!
you're just going to beat luck. Well, you know. Okay. I'll get to the outside crew after. Inside the house with Zia's also in there, I guess. With Chris, Riley, Nyx, and Zia. You're all sitting inside the hut, and it looks about the same. It's like opaque, mostly. You can still see outside, but can't see in. It looks the same as ever. The temperature is nice and cool. The bugs are off your skin. Except for you, Riley. You never had bugs on you.
And I will look around and say, well, I've acquired a new friend. I don't know if they want to show themselves or if they can.
Nothing happens.
I guess they're shy. They don't want to talk. In which case, Riley will just immediately start meditating then.
Okay. As we begin meditating, what are you thinking about?
How bizarre this place is.
Sure. A little wacky. You're thinking about it, and it's like not
It was
sure
right
how
next
anything.
to my home of 40 years.
Yeah. It was already kind of wacky when you were living there, but like you're deep. You're deep in the forest. Your village got a couple like days into the outskirts, and then they either never came back or it came back weirdly unharmed. Like it's known to be weird. You frequented it, but like not this deep. So this is, yeah, a little strange for you. As you're kind of thinking this, you can kind of feel the outer walls of the tiny hut change a little bit.
Like physically or just visually or...
As you kind of feel the sensation, open your eyes, there is a small vine that on the inside of a tiny hut that is growing rapidly, and it's kind of crawling up this inside walls of tiny hut, where it used to be like an opaque dome of magic is rapidly becoming an opaque dome of wood and vine.
I'll allow it.
Okay. Chris, what are you doing? You are seeing this too.
I'm like, what did you do to Tiny Hut? Some sort of
Nothing.
upgrade?
Nah. The forest wanted to renovate, I suppose.
Do I know if this, Riley said that this force is like sentient and that sort of thing, right?
As far as he knows.
I wonder if this force is capable of casting or producing magic.
It's capable of understanding that magic is happening.
I'm curious about how an item would work here. What's that fucking staff called? Like, I don't want to do anything to piss this thing off anytime soon, but what's that staff we got?
Oh, the Staff of Worldly Envenomment.
Yeah.
Has anyone attuned to that?
I think Riley did once, but he's since unattuned to it.
Magic. The venom produces targets. Wait, the venom wait, what? Was that like
Produced.
the D missing?
Yeah.
The venom produced targets the bonds that magic holds together, unraveling it at its seams. And this thing might just be magic, a sentient magic itself, but
I guess produce is kind of redundant there. Hold on, I'm just spell checking. Yeah. Rather, you're just allowing the vines to surround you,
Correct.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Nyx is kind of there, just studying the environments now. Not just not magically protected, but also physically trapped, possibly. Zia entrusts you implicitly. And Chris, you're not doing anything either?
Um, can I recall if I know any like history about this forest?
Make a history or nature check. History's kind of a higher DC. Okay. The only information you know about this forest is that it's possibly one of the oldest ever. Solely because the elves, that's based on elvish history, where the oldest accounts of like elvish, history go back to like the Umbral era, and the forest is apparently still there. But any research attempt to go into there is either denied, like funding entirely because of how weird it is, or fails because of how weird it is. Not much is known that you can tell.
Hmm. Do I know what an Archon is, or what the purpose of one is?
An Archon?
Yeah, like good day and like. Do I know it?
I mean, it's not like a special title. It's just, not a fancy word for a ruler. Gideon seems to have taken it.
I see. Hmm. Can I try tuning in with the chaos within this forest?
You can try. What did I have you roll? Is it D20 or D100? I don't quite remember.
I'm not sure.
It may have been a religion check.
Did I do that one?
I think so. Let's make a religion check. To try to tune this. Tap in your own religion, I guess. Okay. It's strange. Like, as you're trying to tap into the chaos specifically, it's almost complementary and then almost at odds. Where your idea of chaos is pure chaos. It's straight randomness. It is impulsiveness. It's just going and just doing anything. The constant change of everything, basically. Things have to change, or things are always stagnant. But the chaos that the force seems to represent, you can feel there's a goal in mind. It is, in fact, not real chaos in a way. It's ordered chaos. It's
I see.
it's a series of seemingly random or like independent factors, but the total sum of its goal is to eventually be stabilized. So like you're both agents of this like chaotic change, but the goals are different. And there's this weird like conflict as you're trying to tap into it. You don't get a godhood point. You do get some insight.
How is Nyx seeming like? Are they is their personality different? Or like, because their god is related to the god of change and that sort of thing. So are they kind of like reverting back personality wise?
Not that you can tell. She's just kind of sitting here. Yeah, she's sitting here just kind of like not moving, not like really talking. She's just looking at the wood and trying to like make sense of it. Almost trying to like discern any patterns in its growth or something.
I'll ask her, so what do you make of this situation?
Do you know about the anglerfish? It's like a deep sea fish. Sometimes fishermen catch it in their nets.
I've seen a few.
I think I recall reading about that monster.
I have a feeling that we just got attracted to its light and just walked into its jaws.
Well, thankfully, I'm a master fisherman, so if anything comes of it, I'll get us out of it.
That was a metaphor.
Doesn't matter. Metaphorical fish also bend to my whim.
Well, I hope whatever we're dealing with is an actually big fish. But in this swamp and in this forest, well, I'm out of my depth.
Riley is still just going to let the vine thing happen.
Okay. Yeah, and it eventually fully encloses the dome, and it's been like that for a while, but hasn't really changed since 0 on the outside. You notice this pretty immediately too, as you can hear like creaking of wood slightly behind you, as you see the dome slowly being overgrown with green vines and brown wood, just interlacing with itself. What you doing on the outside?
I'm not really sure what to do because I don't want to piss anything off, especially considering I'm not with my party right now, technically. I'd like to reach for my truth seer.
Okay.
And see what happens. And like take it out and see if it's still as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you pull his truth here, and it looks the same. So gleams still is sharp dagger, big ass dagger.
I want to gently. I want to watch the vine. I mean, do I see vines like around me now? I know you said I can see all the stuff forming on the inside of the tiny hut, but do I see anything around me moving right now? Vegetation?
You see, you're inside the giant, like the trunk of a giant hollowed out tree, like the giant knot of a tree. I don't know if it's still alive. Might be. Hard to tell. Might have been growing for 6,000 years at this point, but you're looking for the vegetation. There is like grass still here, tall. There's some vines still swinging, and then the vine kind of slithers up out of view. That may have been a really large snake. You see movement out of the corner of your eye, just up top to your right. There's like a kind of horizontal branch coming off, or like maybe a splintered fragment of the tree itself, mostly horizontal. Then kind of grew over to be rounded, but you see an owl land on it. Pretty pudgy for an owl, but it's big. Kind of a mostly brown gray in its coloration, kind of a brown belly, gray coat everywhere else though. It has giant yellow eyes and is just staring at you. Then a second owl of the same species lands on the same branch next to it, kind of staring at you. Claudine's kind of next to you as well, just looking up at it with you.
I'm going to, yeah, I guess reach for my truths here to see if it's doing anything funky at all.
You reach for truth here. You grab it by tandle. It's cold, it's silver, it's metal. So it's the same as ever. At least visually. Physically, it looks the same, feels the same.
I want to do this almost like as an act of I'm not trying to harm anything around me. I'm going to like put my hands up in like a unthreatening way, like where they can see my I'm gonna look at the owls, and I'm gonna put my palms up like I'm not doing anything weird. I'm gonna take out Truth Seer, and I want to watch their reaction as I'm taking the blade out.
Yeah, as you take out the Truth Seer, kind of like slowly unsheathing it and just making sure it's like a not harmful actions. like a very passive stance you're taking. You see one of the owls just kind of, almost, not like quite mimics your movement, but like it kind of matches your intensity, kind of calms down, but the talons begin to kind of dig into the branch itself.
I want to take my blade and I would like to slice the palm of my hand. And with my bloodied hand, I would like to reach into the soil beneath. If there's soil beneath me, I'm assuming. I know you said like hollowed out trunk, but is it safe to say we are standing on earth? Is there wood directly beneath me, or can I find some soil?
There's soil around you. It's like it's patchy, but it's earth.
Okay, I'm gonna take my bloody hand, my bleeding bloody hand, and I'm going to reach into the soil and scoop it up, and then I'm going to almost wrap that soil around my blade, like I'm making like a sandcastle type of thing, smush it around it, and I would like to use a charge to what's it called? Make what's that ability? It's not Leech information. What is it? Burst of knowledge.
Yeah.
I want to use burst of knowledge, and that's how I choose to do it. But I want to use burst of knowledge to see if I can incite any like occult knowledge upon what the fuck entity lies in this forest, because what the fuck is going on?
Okay. Make a nature check.
I'll be right back real quick.
Okay.
That's with advantage with that's what the thing gives me, right? Is advantage?
Yes.
Burst of knowledge, okay. Oh, fuck.
Okay. Okay. You kind
Gamers,
of,
would it be stupid to use my inspiration already on this?
Yeah, I say keep it.
it's up to you. You might get it back later on if something happens. You might not. It's up to you whether you want it. This is a worthwhile endeavor.
Who has the die today?
I think Chris already used it.
Maybe, if I recall. Either way, it hasn't been dawn either way, so it's not safe to say.
Oh, okay. It's not usable anyway. Okay. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay. As you begin to wrap the earth with your blood in the around Truthseer and access this knowledge, you're expecting to kind of go back into the library and just run through information, see what's going on. Maybe that'll unlock something. Instead of being shunted to there, you get shunted somewhere else. Somewhere completely different. No trace of Elena. No trace of anyone you know. You're in a hut or tent, like a primitive one, made of hide, leather, stitched together with like sinew from probably their hunt. A group of elvish people around you, of the same, this coloration and like I guess subspecies that Riley is, a wood elf, seemingly, a kind of like lighter brown, tannish skin, almost wood-like. They are in this tent around this large fire, just kind of sitting. Some of them are up and like kind of dancing around it in long, doing like long circular movements, graceful. Very like dressed not much, just enough to cover what they need to. Either made of leaves or hide, whatever they could find. And they are speaking in a language that you don't understand. And they're just conversing. Some of them are eating. And it's nighttime outside. You look up and you see no moon. None whatsoever. But the forest still looks as if it always has. You look back and don't see a hut, but that's the exact same tree that you guys are currently staying in. But It's younger. The people are inside of it. It wasn't a tent. They just lined the inside of the tent itself, or the tree itself, with the hides. And then this vision ends, having gleaned not really any pertinent information, but something connected with you that wasn't your god. Possibly something older. As your vision comes back to you, you look up at the owl. One of the owls of the two has a third eye. That owl flies off into the night, followed by the second owl that landed after.
Okay. Yeah, whatever this is, it doesn't feel hostile, but it definitely is hyper vigilant of why the fuck we're here. Let me see what I have available right now.
Maybe it's curious.
Yeah, very wild. Like an actual animal. I'm going to... Who cast... was it me that cast sending to the... What do we call her again? I know we said it. The Archon?
Yeah, Archon Godaifen.
Good day. It was me. Yeah, because I was the one that actually met her back in Calbay, right?
We all met her.
In the bath.
Bathhouse, right? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Then, I will cast sending to her and say... Wait, okay, pause. Are we technically in Illyreed yet, or we'd have to make our way over there?
Illyreed, we don't want to be in Illyreed. We're actually where we want to be.
Oh,
Riley
this is
said-
where we want to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
Riley said go to Illyreed because it's nearby, and he knows where that is.
Yeah, you accidentally actually shunted yourself further to where you needed to go.
That's terrifying. It's almost like this thing wanted us here. That's terrifying.
Story-wise, it kind of works out. Dice-wise, that's just how it rolled out.
Terrifying.
We were off target, but ended up on target.
I'm gonna cast sending to Godaifen, and I'm going to say, where can we find you?
Make a wisdom saving throw. Okay. Much like Riley, though, I'm not sure if he shared this, but you feel this pull, this tug, something trying to pull at the actual fabric of the magic itself as you're casting it. This parasitic force, almost, latch onto your magic itself, but you manage to expel it if you choose. I'll leave that up to you.
Expel it?
Yeah, it's trying to latch onto your magic, but you manage to, if you want, to shunt it off just enough to cast a spell without issue. Though you don't know what happens if you let it in.
I mean, you're telling me right now I have the choice to try it and let it in?
Yeah, so I'm giving the choice to either you succeeded on it, you succeed on the save, or
Yeah.
you can choose to willingly fail and see what happens.
I'm going to choose to fail. Wait, did Riley already do that? Or what did you do, Riley?
I invited it in.
Okay, I'll also invite it.
Okay. You cast sending. It does not. It's unimpeded, but you cast it twice. Not spell slot wise. It just goes to. Do you feel it go to 2 recipients?
It's CC'd.
It's
Yeah.
an email term, right?
Yeah.
I was really trying
I'm
to.
the only one that sends emails. Sorry.
Yes. I only use my email to sign up for stuff I'll never use. But yeah, it goes to 2 recipients. Then they both receive it. You kind of just hear back. You'll have to figure that out. I'm not the one that can invite you in.
It's a bullshit ass answer. I'm trying to figure out if inside. Okay, I want to try something. I would like to walk towards the tiny hut and put my hand up to it and see if this thing will let me inside.
Okay. As you put your hand up against the wood, you touch wood, but you want to go inside.
No, I'm trying to see if how it reacts. I guess if it'll like get if it's trying to keep me out now, or if it would let me in.
All right. You just reach out and touch it. You just touch wood. It doesn't lash out or spike you, but you are touching it. It's stopping your injury.
It is stopping my entry. Okay.
Well, if you're just trying to push through, yeah. You can try something else, maybe.
I don't know if I want to try anything else because I don't know if I can get back out. If I guess I'll shout from out here to Riley. I'll just say, I don't know if he can hear me, but I'm going to shout from out here and be like, what's the plan?
Can Riley hear this?
Yeah. Muffled, but yeah.
Not sure. Things seem to be fine for now, though. Riley will attempt to open the door to let Zero and Claudine in.
Okay. How are you doing that? Just willing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you think to yourself, and you have the desire to just let Zero and Zero and Claudine, and as you think that, the wood begins to part into a small door. The tiny hut's still there. The spell itself is effectively there, but the physical wood that has lined the inside begins to part into a small, like hobbit-sized little door.
Yep, seems fine. Come on in. Hell was that?
Sorry, I'm on push to talk and I got a Amber Alert while I was talking and I stopped the thing.
I was like, like.
So you caught like a
evacuation order.
You caught like a fraction of a second of an Amber Alert. I'm sorry.
It was like flashbacks to last week.
To LA.
Do you guys not have Amber Alerts in Canada?
No, we do. It's just that we heard so many last week.
That's terrifying. I'm sorry.
So many Amber Alerts?
Well,
yeah, because there's a fucking fire in the city, dude.
Oh, I thought.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
Jesus. I was like, that's a lot of missing kids.
Yeah, there's an evacuation alert while we were watching anime.
And then 10 seconds later, they're like, just kidding, this one was fake.
Yeah, disregard this one. And then we got another one at like 4 a.m.
Someone was fired that day.
Almost certainly.
Your Honor, McClan pleads oopsie daisy.
There's no need to be Amber alerted inside the hut, though.
Yeah, there's no forest fires going on inside the hut, but there is an opening.
The nature of this thing is very interesting because it doesn't seem immediately threatening, but it does seem very much like whatever you do in my space here, I'm gonna know about it. I'm gonna have a hand in it, and we're gonna do it together.
Can I cast telepathy on the forest?
You can try it. What spell level is that?
It's 8.
Roll AD10. In the words of Phil Swift, that's a lot of damage.
Sure is. Good thing he's about to sleep it off.
It's true. Okay, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oof.
Okay. The good part is that you succeed. The bad part is that you succeed. You connect with the forest as an entity. You maybe theorize that maybe there's just one solid entity. You are partially correct. It's not you sense that you connected the forest, but the forest is a big place. And not only do you connect with the forest and its thoughts, you can call it that, you'll also connect with its senses. All roughly about 1,000 miles of it in a single instance. Your brain gets immediately overloaded with all the sensations. You feel everything in the forest. You feel yourself in the forest. Every time you move, you can feel something tickle your soil. You can feel your hair growing out as trees. You can feel your blood running through as rivers. Every part of this forest is now you. And you feel every living organism in it, every insect, every animal, every microorganism that you didn't know existed, existing on the bark of every leaf, on every dewdrop, every egg hatching, every young eaten. All of it gets flooded into your mind in a fraction of a second. You rolled 8d10 for damage? Roll 8d10 again. That's how much psychic damage you take as well. Are you still conscious? That's the question.
Yeah, I should be.
Okay.
Well, you mean should? Oh, right, because the first one was all the temp HP.
Yeah. So at 48. So that's, what is that? That's 110 damage.
I think so, yeah.
After that initial brief explosion of senses, you are barely hanging on to this spell. You are, if you're still conscious, but you've connected telepathically to the forest.
Do I sense any monstrosities near us?
Near you? No. Ever else in the forest? Tons. Okay, do I sense monstrosities? Is such a Janet question.
Do I sense any muskrats?
Not native to this area, but you do sense muskrat-like creatures, like flying squirrels, and various lemurs and monkeys, like little eyes and such. I guess they're not muskrats, but close enough.
I've connected.
Chris says as he's bleeding from every orifice on his face.
So that's what it takes for someone like you, huh? I'm pretty sure... No, I'm not gonna say anything. All good.
Okay. Zero, have you walked into the hut at this point, or are you still staying outside of it?
No, I never walked in. I just
Okay.
tried to see what would happen if I tried to gain access.
Okay. Yeah, there's an opening, but you haven't walked in yet.
What happens if I try to take out my magic carpet again? Is if I take it out, is it still low to the ground? Is it not flying anymore?
You take a magic carpet, it's still kind of low to the ground. It's hovering, but it's not really very useful right now. The magic still seems to be there, it's just dampened.
Can I ask out loud to the forest? I'm gonna take it out. I want to climb on top of it, and I'm gonna ask out loud to the forest. Can I go higher, please?
Make a persuasion check.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. No response, but the carpet does go flaccid. Now it just fully stops working.
I'd like to stab my hand again with my blade and let it bleed out onto the soil. I want to squeeze my fist to drip the blood onto the soil, almost like giving it as an offering to the soil, to the earth, and be like, please.
Make another persuasion check.
Anytime Zero wants to do
My
something.
luck today is stupid.
More blood.
Or blood.
More blood.
Remember, when at first the solution doesn't work, just try a blood sacrifice. Doesn't matter if it's talking to a forest or your computer stopped working. Yeah, as you stab your hand into the ground and just say please as you pull the blood off the floor, it's sticky almost. Like your blood coagulated and now is now like the consistency of like a syrup or like a gum. As you pull it free, it kind of snaps back into the soil, and there's something bubbling almost. It grows rapidly into like this like 12-petaled red flower, deep crimson. The carpet begins to lift again. Chris, point of order. You have telepathy on. And you're kind of keeping tabs on your current surroundings too. You're hearing Sarah say this, especially with the portal to open, doorway now open. You can actually hear better. You feel this almost weird consciousness that's not consciousness whenever you're asked these questions. Even when anyone interacts with the forest, even. There's this almost weird ping you can feel. Like every organism and every leaf just at once gets the information, but like radially from your position. Like echolocation, but on a grand scale. Like the information gets sent out from your position across every insect, every piece of wood, every piece of soil, rock, river, and it transmitted all through the forest at once, and then bounces back with an answer. And you can only tell this because you telepathied with an entire forest.
And that answer was,
Yeah, okay.
it agrees.
I feel good about what I've done today then.
You gonna meditate?
Yep.
Okay. So you begin to meditate. The door is still open, but the wood doesn't really progress. Okay, 0, Chris, you guys are still up. And these guys choose not to be. What you doing?
Oh. Wait, is the door to the tiny hut closed over?
No, it's still open.
Okay. I guess I'll actually rest.
Okay, 2 elves resting. Yeah, Z is kind of just like putting her hands across the soil. Moist, damp it, but she's kind of just running her fingers along it.
Hasn't experienced this before.
She's seen soil when you're walking around, but like not a jungle forest. This is the most probably like verdant, rich place she's been to, like naturally. Chris resting. 0. What are you doing?
I would like to summon my son. Where's my son?
Okay. He's in the shape of a hellhound currently, right?
Yes.
You summon Azek, and you get a wooden owl with a third eye.
Are you kidding?
Ooh, fascinating.
Huh? What the fuck? This feels like when you're playing like Pokemon Go, and like it's a specific holiday, a certain season, so all the Pokemon you're catching are like of that holiday, or they have like a little Christmas hat on or something. You know what I mean? Like it's everything is skin different. All the skins of the flavors are different. I'm like, this is weird. I know it's so specific, but you guys know what I mean. Anyway, I'm gonna stare at this thing, and I'm going to ask in my head, who are you?
It just stares at
In
you.
that exact tone.
It gets your message, and it just stares at you. The third eye just kind of cocks its head. When you summoned Azek, you felt no connection to the lower planes.
I'm gonna reach out to try to touch it.
You touch it. It is just fully like bark wood, but you touch it.
I'm gonna speak out loud and be like, this is not my boy. I'd like my boy, please.
It just rotates his neck like 270 degrees to look at Claudine, and then looks back at you.
Please. I will slowly bring my blade up to my hand again, looking at the owl, and I'm just like, please.
Make a persuasion check with disadvantage. It just kind of cocks its head.
Is there anything on the ground, like a stick or a twig or something?
Yeah, tons.
I'm gonna point to a little twig on the ground and be like, I'm gonna tell the thing, can you give me that twig?
It begins to like hop towards the twig and just pick up the twig, hop towards you, and just puts it at your like the feet at the ground at your feet. Looks up at you with the third eye, blinks all three differently, like different times.
What's your name?
It kind of just looks around, just rotating its neck, just every angle.
Can I pet it? Can I give it a head scratch?
If you want to,
I'd like to.
yeah, give it a little head scratch.
Because I don't think this is like, oh, this is a little spirit sent by the forest. I think this is the fucking forest. This is just the one guy. Not one guy, you know what I mean? Like one entity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a little head scratch.
Give a little head scratch. It's not comfortable in your hands. It's wood, like hard wood too, rough wood, but it's there.
How does it react?
It stared unblinkingly at you.
Okay. I'm gonna pick up the twig and just say thank you for the twig.
Yeah, it just continues standing on the floor, staring at you.
I'm gonna keep eye contact with it. I'm gonna put the twig back where it's supposed to go. I don't want to steal it.
Yeah, it sees you putting the twig back, stares at the twig a little bit, stares back at you, and just sitting there.
What happens if I magically dismiss, or whatever I normally do to dismiss Azek? What happens if I try to do that?
Yeah, you dismiss Azek. It kind of like very gently explodes into like a shower of splinters.
And I resummon it?
Yeah, you resummon it, and it just magically forms back out of wood again.
This is so weird. Okay, well, this changes things. I was gonna try to get a long rest on the magic carpet. Now that it's letting us float above the ground a little bit, but I don't have anyone to watch over me while I sleep other than it. I guess Claudine doesn't really have to sleep, and she has good passive. But...
What, you're not gonna get in the fucking tent?
No!
Okay.
What if you guys can't get out? No.
Yes, we can.
No, I said, what if you guys can't get out? Like, what if something changes and you guys can't get out later?
All right, fair enough.
I'm going to begrudgingly lay down on the carpet and pat it for Claudine to join me.
Yeah, she kind of stares at the owl, and then kind of stares at you for a bit, and then sits on the carpet. Okay.
I'm gonna lay down on it, and I'm just gonna look at her and be like, I'm not gonna get in that tiny hut. I don't know that I trust that. But it looks like there is no Azek, so I can't really keep any kind of watch over us while we rest them. Sorry. Is it? Oh, you said it's like humid out here, right, Simon?
Yeah.
So for sleeping, would you say that's relatively pleasant? Like it's warm, at least?
It's warm, but it's also sweaty. So like,
Cute.
yeah, it's like the sweatiest you've ever been. Try sleeping in that. It is warm though.
What happens if I don't get a long rest? Other than like my shit not refilling.
You'll get a level of exhaustion, which I think at its first level is disadvantage on audibility checks.
Oh.
I think. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's right.
Hmm. Well, I'm gonna wait to see.
Claudia can
Good.
stay up.
I don't want her to stay up the whole time though. I want her to also get her stuff back.
She doesn't need to get stuff back because she has no spells or anything.
Yeah, but I still don't want her to have a level of exhaustion. That sucks.
Still, they'll have to keep an eye out.
I guess. I mean, elves are. I'll ask. I guess through the tiny hut. Are y'all taking watches, or are you guys just gonna go to sleep?
Well, we don't sleep, but effectively, we'll sleep.
I guess I'm kind of taking watch over the whole forest.
How long does telepathy last?
24 hours.
Well, yep. Can't get a better watch than that.
But I will rest. Maybe I'll rest first then. Unless Riley wants to rest first.
I'm going to look to Claudine and be like, we could also, I guess, try to get back up to Polaris if you'd prefer.
Well, whatever you choose to do, I'll stick with you. I don't know what's going on as much as you do, so.
I will speak to the owl and I will say, will you allow us to get higher and leave the vicinity so that we may go rest with the dragon?
Make a persuasion check. There's no response. Kind of just tilt its head again.
Can I try to will the carpet to go higher and see what it does?
Yeah, and it goes higher than it did before. It goes up to about the tree line.
And it doesn't go any higher?
No.
Oh. I really don't want to sleep in here. What time is it right now, Simon?
Nighttime. You've been traveling for about, I want to say about an hour, probably like resting here for about half an hour. Or been traveling, probably you've been here for maybe about like 2 to 3 hours. Your actual clock doesn't work right now.
I'm gonna use my last charge on the Truth Seer for Burst of Knowledge again. And I'm going to do one more time. I'm going to slash my hand or a part of my body that, theoretically will just be a little laceration, and take my blood and mix it again with the soil, and I'm going to inquire if I don't know. I'm trying to ask if I think it would be safe to sleep in this forest, but I know this isn't like, I don't know. I'm not looking for like a yes or no answer. I don't know what to ask otherwise.
Okay, so what's the question you're asking? Whether it's
I
safe
don't
to
know.
sleep?
Give me a second. I'm trying to think because I can't. I'm trying not to abuse this and use this like it's, what's that one spell? Like divine and not intervention. Well, that is a spell I guess I'm kind of thinking of. But what's the other one where you just ask questions? A cleric spell.
Uh,
See, like yes or no.
Clairvoyance?
no, it's something else. I know what you're talking about though. I just kind of forgot what it's called.
Yeah, I'm trying not to abuse this and use it like that. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to make my question make more sense here. Hmm. I guess I'll shout to Riley. I know he may not have been in here before, but if I had to ask somebody who knows the area better than I do, I'll shout to Riley. Do you know how far the travel is from here to like where the tree line is?
What tree line?
What do you say?
What? Oh, yeah, I guess. What tree line?
I mean, wherever this forest ends.
Well, given where we were, I'd say maybe a few days southeast.
Trying to see, do I have anything I could give the forest? I still have two. I think I still have two of those rustric eggs in my bag. So I have a note here saying I sold two of them to the Atneys in exchange for one of the potions of invulnerability, but I had four to begin with, so I still have four of them.
Are you gonna release one?
I don't know. I was trying to find something organic, I guess, to offer the forest to be like, hey, just like let me fly up to my dragon, because I'm really not trying to sleep down here, dude. If my options are okay, either get in the little dome that theoretically tomorrow you may not be able to get out of, or sleep out here in the like exposed open with no way to really guard yourself overnight because you can't even access your fucking little guy that normally keeps watch. Like I just don't I don't trust this enough to just either sleep out in the open or sleep in its grasp in the little dome like that where it's already sprouted its little roots.
What you doing?
I would like to take out a vial of aquamarine. And I'm not going to open it, but I'm going to hold it up. Is the little owl still near me?
Yep.
I'm going to hold it up to the little owl and be like, what do you think about this?
It just stares at it.
I'm gonna pop the cork and let him get a sniff.
Yeah, you can't stick it in its face. It just sniffs.
Nothing.
It stares.
Now chug it.
I will not.
Give you superpowers. What you doing?
Before I rest, do I sense any people in the forest?
People?
Yeah, aside from us.
Not really. As far as people are concerned, you feel like you're one of the only people with 2 feet kicking around this forest right now.
We might be alone in here.
Then Gdaefin is elsewhere. Maybe she hasn't arrived here yet.
Do we know what Elunia can... What does that say? Can feel? Do we know what that means?
I think it was translated.
It was, yeah. I don't remember what though.
I believe it was the forest of most ancient paths, or wood of most ancient paths. One of those two.
Maybe we need to since we're kind of in Elfland, maybe it responds to Elf language.
Elfland. That sounds vaguely racist.
Chris, you spent too much time on the mainland. Riley will bust out his Elvish and say, he'll just say, proceed as usual. In the morning, we have places to be.
Yeah, you don't get a response. Same as usual. Same as Conan.
I'm gonna turn to Claudine and just give a big sigh and say, do you want to sleep in the hut or do you want to sleep out here in the open?
The hut seems kind of crowded. I don't mind roughing it. It's just... Well, I haven't slept in a weird forest like this before. I don't know, maybe it'll be good. Or something. Maybe, I don't know, trying to carve something out is bad? I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a tree person.
Simon, do I see any little naturally occurring, maybe little, I don't want to say a little squirrel hole, because a little squirrel hole isn't going to accommodate us, but I'm saying like a little squirrel hole equivalent type of thing, any nooks in the trees around us that may be suitable for me and Claudine bunking down in.
Well, the hut's in a giant squirrel hole. You can find a private one if you'd like to.
Yeah, I just want to find somewhere that's not the hut.
Sure. Make a survival check or a nature check, your choice.
I'm gonna use the one that uses intelligence.
Yeah, you're able to find one. It's in a dead tree, but the root system has been kind of uncovered over time. So, like, you can kind of get under the tree and just kind of nestle underneath it if you'd like to. It's not comfortable, but it is comfortable enough to squeeze the both of you in without really being in, like, a spine-breaking position in the morning.
Sure, I'll do that. I'm gonna put the magic carpet down as a normal ass carpet on the ground, just so we have something to sleep on top of and not just directly on the dirt.
Okay. As you both get in there and just kind of lay down on the floor, it's, well, the whole place is warm, but it's cooler down here. It's more comfortable. It's mostly away from the elements of the outside, this weird breathing atmosphere.
Is our boy with us?
Would you like your boy to be with you?
Sure.
It's there.
Okay.
Okay. As you all begin to bed down for the night in this strange location, we will take a break there, I guess, for now.
Sure.
Okay.
Alright, see y'all in like 10 minutes. Okay. Where the fuck am I? No. No, there we go. Okay. Zero, since that's who we left off last time. What are your last thoughts before you pass out?
My last thoughts, I'm genuinely not trying to be corny. I'm probably like spooning Claudine if she'll allow me to do so, and I think Zero's probably going to sleep feeling very uneasy about the sleeping situation because we're like out in the open, not in the open, but not in the safety of like the the dragon house, or this is the most vulnerable we've rested in a very long time, it seems like. And I think Zero is falling asleep thinking about Claudine's safety.
Okay. As you proceed to unconsciousness and heading to dreamland, but thinking of the safety and well-being of your partner and all of this, hoping that she'll be okay. Okay. Chris, what are your last thoughts when you begin to meditate fully?
I guess it's kind of cool, but also kind of weird being able to experience what the Force is experiencing.
Yeah, that's true. You do have access for the next 24 hours and into the foreseeable future. The forest senses, in a way.
But I think for Chris, it's also like I get to sense all that is happening, so I get to sense, I guess, a bit of the chaos that is happening within the Force as well.
Okay. Make a roll d20 for me. Okay. Tapping your senses into the forest provides you a unique perspective. You've only ever known your viewpoint as a single solitary person. You only ever know the inside of your own mind. Ever only known the sensation of touch on your own skin. But possibly for the first time, you have access to not just someone else's, but something else's senses. And it's a far grander mindscape and series of stimuli and phenomena that you've never sensed before. You've never felt an insect land on a piece of like driftwood, like floating in the middle of a lake, and then a fish tips it over and eats it. You feel all that, and the entire time you're meditating, you're feeling this inherent randomness, this inherent set of rules that they're following, but the rules are chaotic. Like if red and blue were separate colors, but at the end point they make green. You are focusing on the separation, that red, blue, yellow, purple, these different colors of chaos. And for the next 4 hours, that is what you focus on. And also you do get something from it. You can add 1 godhood point to your character.
That's a divinity, right?
Yeah, divinity. That's what it is. Sorry.
Okay.
Godhood. Riley, what are you thinking about?
Probably still just thinking about this place is strange. It's basically just, yeah, what Zero was saying. Putting its own spin on everything we do.
Yeah, it's a little weird. You still haven't fully figured out what's going on. But for you, a vision. You are just kind of in your own thoughts, but for a little bit, a brief moment, you invited something in, and you don't see it, you're not sure what's happening, but a thought crosses your brain, almost unwilling of your own mind. A question you asked earlier, how did you handle the invasion? That thought crosses your brain. Something you asked, but maybe forgot about after all these things happened. Almost that thought crosses your brain forcibly. And then once it did, you're now kind of focused on it, of your own free will, for a little bit. And then images begin to form. You realize you've opened your eyes. And you kind of feel the back of your neck. A tendril of wood has grown from the top of the dome and has punctured your skin and has embedded itself into the back of your neck. But you feel a connection. Just not to the wood, to some part of the forest, but mostly to your dome. You begin to see pictures of not light, but the wood itself begin to morph and shift. It's kind of amorphous, it's kind of formless, but you can make sense of the shapes because of that tendril of wood connected to the back of your brainstem. You see the forest interpretation of the moon, some sort of large rock in the sky, beginning to cry crystal tears. They land and begin to poison it. But most poisons can be absorbed and stored for later. You begin to see visions of these swamps and forests beginning to kind of absorb pillars of glass, being to just kind of pull it into itself. You see almost inexplicably tree bending into the way of the path of some of these pillars, kind of sacrificing themselves to change its trajectory to land softer soil. And the ones that do find purpose in the surface begin to pour out these creatures that you fought before. You see warriors of wood begin to rise from the bog, wooden swords, shields, in the shape of various long-fallen elves that have perished here eons, possibly millennia ago. The memory of just those who used to live here begin to fight back and eventually pull the poison into itself. Just an answer to your question, the way it handled the invasion is by simply just storing it.
Interesting.
You open your eyes, but for real this time. You thought you opened your eyes. That tendril didn't actually exist. It was just this connection, this interpretation, your brain's interpretation of what was happening, but you awake, technically. In reality, you instantly touch the back of your neck. It seems, nothing's there. Nothing's implanted itself into your head. And the wood dome is still as it was.
Alright, with that, I'll wait for everybody to wake up.
Okay. CC is unconscious. So is Nyx. But such time does pass as you're kind of just whittling the hours away. Chris awakes about the same time as you do because you're elves.
Do I get the full long rest?
Yep. So you no longer take damage from spells, but your strength is still ass.
Yeah, I think for like 6 days, right?
5 now, but yeah. On the 37th, it'll be back normal. Okay. And 0, you're the last one to awake. As you wake up and it's dark still. You've realized the tree fruit you fed yourself to sleep in is open. It was open. But as you awake, it's dark. And you can kind of see with your dark vision that a wooden shell has kind of closed itself around the entrance to this tree knot, this root ball you found yourself in. Claudine's still there. Just still in your arms, but you find yourself in the dark. And the only thing you can see are 3 eyes just staring at you, attached to an owl that's just also inside the shelter with you.
What happens if I try to like reach out and push against the shell?
Yeah, as you kind of push against the shell, rising from your slumber, you push against it and it kind of stops your hand for a bit, but then as you kind of put more pressure onto it, it kind of crumbles away. Just almost like the bark itself was like rot the moment you touched it, and it begins to just break through to the outside world. And you see the morning light. Don't see the sun, you can barely see the sky, but the light of it somehow does manage to make its way through the absolutely massive canopy that is above you.
Okay. I think I will give just a single nod to the owl in gratitude, but I won't say anything.
It's kind of cocks his head. Okay. But you find yourself back to the larger tree that the rest of the party is collected in. Claudia not following too close behind you. Her hair is kind of all disheveled from sleeping in what is essentially a hole in the ground that's a little drier. But it was safe. But the tiny hut lasts for 8 hours, correct?
Correct.
Tiny hut has faded, but the shell of the dome of the wood remains, just still open though. You can all see the morning light begin to rise. No sun, no sky, but the light does penetrate.
All right. Continue the hunt for the white lilies. And Riley will speak in Elvish to the forest, perhaps. Hey, we're looking for someone. You help us out.
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. I think that's pretty good.
Okay. You say that out and don't hear or feel anything. You just make your intention known to the forest, and the forest does not answer you verbally. Chris, you feel that rebounding and like call and answer thing again. The petition that Riley just put out rebounds across the forest and comes back to an answer. It focuses on one specific spot that's nearby to you. There's like a wooden owl that just happens to be here for some reason. 3 eyes. That's where the answer rebounds to. You feel all the intention of that inquiry rebound into this little owl. 0, you don't feel anything, but you see your owl, irrespective of your own commands, begin to hop around to that little blood flower you picked up, or you grew. This 12-petaled red crimson flower. Pluck it, and it just begins to hop somewhere. And it's just hopping away.
think we should follow that owl.
Does Riley get the sense that we should follow that owl?
Great question. That's up to Riley.
Fuck it, whatever. Got nothing else to go on. Sure, let's follow the owl.
Okay. Yeah, as you're kind of following the owl, you begin to trek through the mud again. The insects, perhaps even irrespective of force wishes, are still stinging all of you. It's itchy, it's irritating. Some of them subside, some of them don't. Not sure exactly what the rules of this forest are. But they begin to kind of harass you the entire way. The owl, still not flying, it's just hopping across the mud. It seems to be light enough that it's not really sinking into it, it's just kind of skipping across the surface. And it's slow going. It's a pretty small owl. Chonky, but it's not a huge owl. You go for about 3 hours in a direction. Polaris, let's see, flew back a little bit here. You guys moved up. Oh, there-ish. On the way there, you can see bits of what used to be previous civilization. Like torn down huts and tents that have somehow not rotted away. They've just been kind of kept here. You see them kind of pulled up via vines into the trees themselves, almost like this weird grotesque spider web of a dead civilization. The wooden stakes and poles that have been long petrified by the bog just kept aloft there. You see tapestries that are now sullied with dirt and mud and feces of some animals, seemingly. Just kind of hung like carcasses across the tree branches. Little children's dolls made out of just like wood and straw or like dried grass or something, just kind of hung by their little feet. And it's just weird. Not quite a memorial, but like a museum of like what was here as you're kind of passing by.
Do we see like any artifacts that might determine the era this place existed in?
You can try to, if you want to stop the search, you can try.
Yeah, maybe I'll do like a quick search.
Okay, make an investigation check. Okay. Not quite an artifact. You find some, not quite scrolls, but it's like a leather, like skin that's been scrawled on, like carved into it with some lettering, and then like they inked into the grooves with like a kind of like powdered ink or dye to make actual wording. So it makes the kind of script pop more. Its details, it's in Elvish, so you can read it, but it's an old, archaic script of Elvish. Kind of like how like we would speak English here today, but you know, a couple hundred years ago they'd be like, ye old thou they kind of
Like
way.
Shakespeare talk.
Yeah. It's archaic. It's understandable, but it's archaic. It details a crying stone, specifically, in the sky. The glass that it cries poisons everything it touches. It details the forced attempts to stop it. But everyone in the village has already been touched. So they all collectively just lied there and waited for the forest to take him.
Does it look like there's evidence of that right now? That is there any corruption in the area?
Looking around, no. It's other than the pulled up like remnants of huts and houses and people's lives, not really.
I'll mention the writings of it to Riley and Zero.
Oh, funny that. I think I had a dream about that last night.
It seems like has been able to get rid of corruption, perhaps.
Well, I don't know about get rid of it, but make it a non-issue anyway. It's possible it festers under all this mud. But it's not a danger to anybody now or possibly any time in the future. Unless they dig it up. But I also happen to know that this forest has interesting security measures.
Okay. Would you like to continue going, or would you like to continue investigating?
Is the owl looking like it's going a different direction?
It's staring directly at you the moment you stopped.
Maybe you could do a little bit more investigation.
Okay, make an investigation check. What are you searching for, if anything?
Maybe any other information. Maybe any technology or something of like historical significance. Maybe possibly something that relates to the time period.
Make one more investigation check. Yeah, poking around, it's hard to find anything else. You found the script, which was only possible because it was like half buried in under like a tree, and you could barely make out the like the kind of wooden core that comprised the actual like wrapping of this hide. It just didn't match the rest of the environment. Everything else either got pulled up and you can't. It's really hard to get up there, or it's just doesn't exist. Either got pulled. Yeah, either got pulled up or pulled down, possibly. Or some animal took it and just left. It is still a forest.
I'll look to Riley and Zero. Should I keep this?
Well, if the forest doesn't mind you taking it, then I don't see why not.
Same.
I guess I'll hold on to it for now.
Okay, make a persuasion check. Okay. As you kind of pocket it without really thinking and just continue following the owl. The owl doesn't move. It just stares at you, Chris.
I think I gather that it wants me to put it back, so I'll put it back where I found it.
Okay. And you have pretty good memories. You put it back in that exact slot you pulled it out from and then rebury it. Yeah, the owl just kind of turns and begins to hop forward.
We'll continue following it.
Okay. Leaving behind the museum of people. Just continuing on. I'll have you make perception checks. Hey, that's the 0, I know. Okay. I'd say, yeah, I guess Chris would have some understanding of this as well. Zero, you're just following your fucking owl. The owl's hopping and you're hippie hopping and you're clippity clopping after it. Riley and Chris, only because you have the connection via telepathy. Riley, you sense this in a different way. But Chris, you feel this first. About hour 4 into your trek through the mud. Unfun, half speed because it's mud. It's just buzzing with insects. The insects immediately stop. They scatter. And you're not sure why, but you feel the presence. Different presence. Something below, deep below, is bubbling. Well, like indigestion, like acid reflux. The stomach of the forest is bubbling. You're not entirely sure what that is. You didn't even feel it until just now, but it's upset. Like it's just like, it just keeps, it's like pounding at a gate that you didn't know existed until just now. You're still kind of new to all the whole sensation of the forest. You're focusing on the forest itself, the trees, the roots, but this is deep below. The furthest reaches of the forest it has, and there is something trying to claw its way in, and the forest is pushing it down.
Oh, so it's separate from the forest, but it's trying to escape into it?
Possibly. It's like a dog that's like scratching at the door. Except the claws are very big. And the door is very strong. Riley, you sense this not in the way that Chris does, but in the general demeanor of the forest. You feel well, for lack of a better term, the vibes change. It wasn't ever really like welcoming, but it was also stereotypically a forest. You've been to the outskirts of this place before. It's buzzing with insects. It's, trees and water and birds and insects and a lot of animals. You haven't seen any big ones yet. You know they're around. Stereotypically a forest, if a bit strange. There's something that shifts in the air. Suddenly the trees feel longer. The distances feel longer. The light seems to dim even during the day. You almost sense that the leaves are like falling a little bit, but you blink and they're back. You almost sense like eyes staring at you through the gaps in the dark where the light doesn't touch. You almost see something like rise from the mud, this almost like hooded figure of mud, of moss and dangling vines, but then just kind of lowers back in. It's almost like the whole forest's demeanor just shifted in an instant. The coin flipped, and now it's different.
I'm gonna look at the owl and see how it's reacting.
At some point, the owl just stops, and is just kind of still for a couple seconds. About 10, 15 seconds pass. No movement whatsoever. Completely
I'm
dead
going
still.
to read its mind then.
Okay. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You tap into a mind. It's not the forest. You're not even sure if the forest has a mind. That's what's giving you kind of pause. You tap into a mind. It's not just a 1, it's like 90? Like a highly compacted stone of just people. You don't make any information out of it. It's just kind of this roiling snake of like this curled ball that's just constantly rolling and grinding.
And there's not even a sense of anything.
No thoughts, just almost instinct, almost like like a mission almost.
And what is that mission?
Spread. The grinding stops. The demeanor of the forest changes again, and you feel like connection just gets severed. At the same time, Chris, you feel that bubbling subside. And almost immediately, Owl just begins hopping forward as if nothing happened.
Hey, that was a bit spooky. Anyone else feel that?
I felt something kind of bubbling beneath the forest. Almost like it's trying to escape.
And Claudine doesn't speak up at all?
No. Because she's the only other elf in the party.
Yes.
No, just chilling. Mad chilling.
I'm going to speak to Claudine in Elvish and say, what, you really don't feel anything?
Well, I mean, woods aren't exactly my strong suit. I feel mud.
Switch back to common. All right, then. I guess we'll carry on.
Claudia turns towards you, Zero. Do you feel something?
Do I feel something?
Nope.
I'm just gonna shake my head.
I look at Nyx or Zia. Do you feel something?
Nyx just kind of shakes her head. No, not really. Z is just kind of staring at the mud.
You notice something there?
You saying draconic or?
Yeah.
She kind of like looks around the trees in the forest and just kind of goes, there is a oldness. It's difficult to describe. There is an age here.
Is it an age you're familiar with?
All too well. It is it's eternity. It's forever. Something about these trees that cannot die. Not really. It's familiar.
Answers. Perhaps we'll find more answers.
Nothing to do but to tread along. Can do without the insects.
Yeah, the insects are bothersome.
Okay, continue on.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. You continue for another few hours. The mud gives way, and eventually, so do most of the trees. You find yourself trudging through not mud and soil, but like fields. Long, tall grass that have somehow, like some of them blossomed into small flowers, or maybe the flowers have shooted through the grass. It's bright green, perfectly healthy. Patches of flowers also litter this field as well. The trees have stopped and has given way to just this pristine clearing. There's no sun. There's no snow. It's a perfectly warm spring day here. The light still remains. It's midday almost. Possibly. You don't really see the sun. Just the light. No cloud in the sky. Just blue. And the owl just keeps hopping.
Yes, I see we've entered Los Angeles.
No trees, just bright dry grass.
And not a cloud in the sky.
That's true. No clouds, just hurricanes. Okay. Following along the owl, the sun gets hotter. You don't see the sun, just the light and its heat. But as you continue forward, you begin to see, almost like rising out of the grass itself as you get closer, this pedestal made of stone. This light, almost marble-like gray stone. Striations of black and gray and white shoot through it. Almost like marbled ice cream in a way. Just this long, human-sized looking pedestal, not gonna lie. This slab of rock, horizontally laid out across a just border of bright red flowers. The owl kind of hops up to it and just stands on the pedestal. Just turns towards you and stares, cocks its head.
I guess it's time to attempt to interact with the pedestal then.
Okay. It's long enough to lie on. It's only really balanced barely by like a small, almost like carved pillar. Not quite a pillar, more like a step. You could just get up. It's almost like a doctor's table, I guess. You could get up and lie on it if you wanted to. And the only thing that's around it is just ringed by a series of red flowers. What would you like to do? Anyone?
Riley will cop a seat to begin with.
Okay. As you just cop a seat on the pedestal, make a wisdom saving throw.
Sure.
Okay. You don't lose your mind. That's a good thing. Your vision of the world immediately changes upon touching this pedestal. You operate on a different time scale now. You don't operate on days or minutes or weeks or years. You operate on eternity. Around you is not the daytime, not even your companions. You just see yourself on this perfectly still rock platform, and the world around you zips. The stars go across the sky like paintbrush strokes. Night turns to day, turns to night, turns to day in rapid time, almost hurting your eyes. But you see the whole forest begin to decay, and then rise, and then decay, and rise. The same with the flowers around you, decay and rise. But the only thing that remains around you that is consistent are the spectral forms of people, elvish people, dressed fairly primitively, just hides and leathers and plants, some of them. Some of them have staves, some of them have weapons made of wood. And they're just there, staring, not judging, not happy, not cold, just there.
Riley will call out in Elvish. So, did all of you see this then?
They do not respond. You do see the owl there, still on the platform. All of you see the owl there, actually. It does the same thing for all of you. None of you see what Riley's seeing, but for all of you, see the owl on the pedestal drop the blood red flower on the pedestal, the rock slab. The white striations in the rock begin to turn red and then leach outwards, down across the sides, down through the step and into the floor below. Riley, you see this kind of small, vague form begin to emerge. Like a new spectral being born, but it's incomplete. It's just kind of blob-like, barely 2 feet tall.
Does it do anything?
No, it's just sitting there. But nothing happens right now. Would anyone like to do anything?
Hmm. What happens if I pour a vial of arcanium on the ground?
On the ground or on the pedestal?
Oh, yeah, let's try the pedestal.
Okay. You pour a vial of arcanium on the pedestal, and the white striations of the rock begin to turn light blue, like arcanium, flow down the sides, through a step into the ground. Riley, as you're in contact with the pedestal, you can see another blue, big, like, form begin to shape, but it's still incomplete.
Then I'll ask it, what would complete you?
Make an insight check.
Hmm.
You get the sense that the things you're seeing aren't actually people. As you're talking to them, they're making eye contact with you, but they're not really there. You're not sure if they're souls or something, or like the purpose, or like their illusion, but they're not real. Not really people, at least. And you're kind of sitting there looking at these, yeah, like illusions. To make an intelligence check. Okay. As you're kind of looking at these figures, they're almost encompassing the entire field at this point. They are mostly just staring at you, but you see a couple people just doing day-to-day activities. Some of them are just, looming new fabrics, or like, creating blankets. Some of them are peeling and skinning like a kill they got earlier, a deer or something. Some of them are fishing. Just day-to-day activities. They're almost like memories of what these people used to be. And then it kind of hits you that these aren't people. They're not even like illusions or spirits. These are just straight memories. Physically manifest, or at least illusorily manifested.
So then what about the amorphous blobs?
Whenever something was poured, not sure, there was that red flower earlier, and then arcanium, a new memory was being formed, perhaps. You surmise it might require more to complete that memory.
In that case, Riley will do as Zero did, cut his hand open and bleed on the stone.
Okay. You kind of cut your hand open. A good, healthy trickle begins to drip onto the stone. As it does, the serrations turn red down through the steps off the side into the ground. And with every drip of blood that hits the pedestal, a blue blob begins to form. And with every drop, it grows, and then grows. Just keeps growing. Until after a minute or so of bleeding on the pedestal, there is a fully formed Riley just staring back at you in spectral form. What is the memory you would like to imbue?
Probably that of the year he spent in Golmud building a ship.
And as you think about this, the scene shifts. Some of the spirits fade away to make room, but you see Riley just looking over the skeleton of a ship half built, sail still being knitted and sewn, the keel already installed with the ribs in place, the deck being like put into place, boards being cut. The smell of sawdust immediately hits you, as does seawater. A memory in an eternal forest has been lodged, as your vision now returns back to your compatriots in reality. You still
I
remember
get it
it.
now.
You didn't
I still
lose the
what?
memory. You didn't lose the memory. You still have it. Just shared.
Riley will turn to the owl and say, can you show me a memory, then, of Godaiafin?
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. It most certainly can.
The third eye kind of flashes for a bit as you get transported to this memory realm again. This time you see elven woman, but let me find a description here. Elven woman. The blue translucence kind of gives way to actual color. You see a bright set of orange hair tied into a long, complex rope of braids. White lilies intertwined in between the gaps. Emerald green eyes, and dressed in a dress of broken leaves with spiders weaving in and out of it, keeping it held together with its silk. Some living ivy kind of crawls up her leg, and then around the dress itself, kind of accenting it with more colorful flowers. Small ones, some white, some red, some yellow. And she's kind of leaning on a staff. Gnarled, petrified, but adorned with a skull of like a large fanged bird at the top. She is currently resting on the staff, just staring at another woman. You can see human, long scarlet hair, very simple like dress or robe, kind of hard to tell, as she's kind of sitting down at a table, a scholarly writer's table, a large brimmed hat kind of put off to the side, and she's just kind of writing something as the woman you assume to be Godaiafin is kind of watching on.
Does the other woman look familiar?
She looks not unlike the woman that's embedded in a glass pillar right now.
I thought so. Okay.
The memory begins to flash to perhaps a more recent memory. Not quite recent, but older than this one. The hat is in tatters. A ship at sea is in splinters. A man drowns. A woman explodes. A man's never seen again. You see Godefin at a cliffside at nighttime, staring up at the sky, a dead and dormant moon with tears across her eyes.
What's the long pause for?
She just stares. She looks ragged, injured, and most importantly, she looks alone. The memory seems to put a great emphasis on this.
In that case, Riley's gonna try some fucking anime bullshit. He's gonna try and, like, walk up and attempt to comfort her a little.
Okay. He's beginning to walk up. And try to comfort her. You begin to touch her shoulder, try to be in reassuring force, but it touches nothing. Instead, the kind of vision of this woman decoalesces into this amorphous blue spectral form again, and the energy shoots through the grass around you and parts it at a very, very rapid speed. Almost like a laser beam, but it stops in mid-space and just opens a kind of... I suppose a portal is the best way to describe this. It's ringed with hanging flowers of white and yellow. Beautiful. And the immediate scent of a garden and tea being brewed is on the other side. All of you see this, actually.
Well, I think I found her. Wanna go say hi?
I guess we should go in.
Okay. As you're all kind of staring at the portal, the owl still on the pedestal. The portal's still available. Would anyone like to leave a memory at this pedestal?
I'll quickly, I'll get... No, I won't cast anything. I'll get, Chris to pass on to Zia that this is, something to store memories at.
I guess I'll say that to Zia.
He kind of just looks at the pedestal, kind of walks up to it, slices her hand with a new scimitar she has, and just kind of puts her hand on it. A few seconds pass. There's no blood on the pedestal, but she withdraws, leaving something behind of herself.
And so, anyone else?
Can I add more Arcadium?
Sure, if you want to just dump some Arcadium onto this.
Sure, I'll do another vial.
Sure, do another vial. Are you touching the pedestal, or are you just gonna just do it?
Yeah, on the pedestal, yeah.
Okay, you dump Arcadium on the pedestal, but don't see much effect other than the white striations turning blue and then not.
I guess I'll slice my hand then.
Okay. Slice your hand. Putting your blood on the pedestal, you see the same vision as Riley did. These white spectral L's just kind of staring at you. And as you bleed into it, your own spectral form begins to form also. What's the memory you'd like to imbue?
I think probably my last moments with my parents and Rachel, like maybe coming over for dinner or something like that.
Okay. The last happy night you've had with your family. 6 o'clock in the evening, dinner's finally prepped. The night right before that they were called to duty and were never seen again is the same night the prodigal was over. The scent of stews and meats and breads immediately hit you. You were small back then. The prodigal's already in the midst of like his crazy wizardly ramblings. Parents laughing, like, saying not to be too impressionable on the young child. We knew how that turned out. And that's the last bit of parents, the parenthood that you saw with them. Is that one seemingly innocuous and commonplace moment, but had no idea how much that night would change the trajectory of your very long life. As you withdraw your hand, that memory is forever protected and contained. Zero, would you like to leave a memory?
Not really sure. I'm gonna be honest. I've been dozing off here at my desk for like the last 10 minutes, so I'm not
Oh.
certain what's going on. Oh, sorry.
Would you like a quick reminder?
Sure.
You are at a clearing with a pedestal. The pedestal seems to be connected with storing and containing memories of some kind. Riley left a memory of him building a ship. Chris left a memory of his last moments with his parents. Riley also asked to look at the memories of Gudafin, Arema Gudafin, and found one of her kind of just staring at Resori Novos, studying or writing something, and the other one where she is disheveled, injured, alone, staring up at the moon on a cliffside. At that point, a kind of portal ripped open where you smell the scents of fresh flowers, a garden, and some tea being brewed. But some of your compatriots are at least still leaving behind memories of this altar.
I don't know, I guess a memory Zero would leave behind. Probably something from before the adventure, like a night where, I don't know, maybe they had all just done a big job or something, and they were all celebrating back home, like the gang of tieflings. So probably something like a good memory, a happy night where everything ended okay.
Yeah. And it's not common to be so flush in cash with nothing going wrong. You recall a night where you and Nyx and everyone else, Salith, Agrabine, all concocted a heist and fully without any flaws. Well, mostly without flaws. Leland has a couple of harebrained ideas sometimes, where everything went off mostly without a hitch, and you came out with gold and jewels and clothing and food aplenty, shared it with everyone in town, but kept a sizable enough slice for yourself to really congratulate yourself for a heist well done. You can smell the sense of very old wine that you have no business drinking, but you stole it anyway, parading around in the clothes of merchants, and people don't even live there, honestly. The smiles and the sense of the food that you stole all being cooked, the cheers, the cups and mugs being clanged together, a simpler time before, well, everything. as you leave behind a memory, Claudine, after a small pause, also slices her hand open, does the same, but mostly private affair. Something happens over the next couple seconds, but she just kind of backs off and, yeah, leaves behind something else. Nyx does not partake. Yeah, so all that's left really is the hanging portal, a rift in the grass parted to open up this hanging ivy portal. Would you all like to step in?
Hi.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You all walk in. It's all bright at first, but then it subsides. You smell that scent of fresh tea immediately. It's sweet, if a bit better, like an acridness to it. Citrusy, almost. It's strong. You see almost a greenhouse, a beautiful sprawling garden that goes further than you can see. Flowers upon flowers are beyond panes of glass. Within the greenhouse, though, is a perfectly bleach white area, tiled floors, white chairs and tables, white frame across it. It's almost blinding. But the light subsides, and as you see a woman, elven woman, long orange hair braided in with white lilies, dressed in not a dress of dead leaves, but living ones, ivy wrapping and intertwining between them, as she is sitting very curtly and politely, just staring into the garden beyond the glass, turns towards you with bright emerald green eyes and a very neutral expression, beautiful in the light, as she just utters the words to you. You are all fools, you know that. We'll call it there.
Hell yeah. The roasting of the Archon begins next session.
How many XPs until you level up? Because we're just doing the milestone the long way. I'll give you 4,000 this session.
Sounds good to me.